Hi guys, what's up, what's down, what's sideways? James here for chronic fatigue syndrome, my friend, my enemy, my constant companion. I thought I'd do another one on signals, but because this came up from something funny I saw. I was scrolling through Facebook and there's an inspirational quote with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think it was him. Like, he takes up a lot of the photos, like, it's really just a wall of muscle. So, and there was his image with a quote, and I don't know if he was the one who's doing the quote or people were just like, "The Rock" quote. Anyway, it was something like, when you go home, you're not tired, you're just not motivated. You know, do stuff. I paraphrase the last part, but basically it was like, do stuff. You're working for others, you should do something for yourself. And I was thinking like, yeah, that's really good. That is such a truthful thing. But I was reading that and I was like, when I get home, I'm not. It's not that I'm. Hang on. It's not. I'm not tired. I'm just not motivated. Plus, I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. So, it, the the thing where it ties in, where it's like the signals for lack of motivation can also be quite similar to the ones that you have with chronic fatigue syndrome. And also, when we go home from work, yeah, we could have lack of motivation, but it's not just that. It's you've got the chronic fatigue syndrome as well. So you've had your day at work and you've got the lack of motivation, plus you've got the chronic fatigue syndrome. So what do you listen to? Like what do you do? And that's that part of like understanding that you have normal signals, which could be your lack of motivation, which can make you feel like, why bother? I just want to put Netflix on. And then you have the chronic fatigue signals, which is you think you want to watch Netflix, but you can't even press the button. So it's really important to try and distinguish between whether or not you've got, is it just a lack of motivation for life, or is it also the chronic fatigue syndrome? Because the lack of motivation is it's a normal human thing, and it can play a really big part for us as well. And motivation, I'm not talking necessarily about the motivation like, yeah, you can do it, yeah, woo, like that hyped up motivation. Just just that to feel motivated, or to not. I think motivated is not most probably not word. It's the that you don't have that get up and go, that drive to take that one step forward. Because am I dealing with am I dealing with the lack of motivation, or am I dealing with my chronic fatigue syndrome? So if it's the lack of motivation, sometimes the whole idea that you need motivation to do a thing, well, actually no, the idea that you need motivation to do a thing is just, in my opinion, wrong. You shouldn't always try and hunt motivation down and use that as the determining factor for whether or not you do something. Even if you are doing a project, even if you're doing a project that you really want to see come to fruition, you may at some point have a drop in the feeling of motivation, because you're going to hit the valleys, you're going to hit the hard slog, or you're going to find like, oh, I've got to climb uphill, like, so you're going to hit the hard slog. So motivation, that feeling of like, yeah, that gung-ho kind of motivation feel, it's going to run away. It's good to get you started, but it's not what keeps you going. Commitment to your end goal is what keeps you going. So it's the same thing. So let's say you go to work and you want to be able to do something afterwards. Put chronic fatigue syndrome aside for a moment. It shouldn't The determining factor about whether or not you do the thing shouldn't be whether or not you feel motivated to do it. It should be whether or not you are truly committed to the outcome that that activity will produce. For example, it could be something simple, like I come home and it's my turn to make dinner. I don't feel motivated to make dinner. So it doesn't matter. You need to commit. You need to you need to commit to that activity. You need to make dinner. You don't you need to eat. You need to make dinner. You don't need to feel motivated to do it. So same thing for housework. Anything really. Your side job, your passion, your hobby. You don't always have to have that deep sense of motivation, but you do have to be able to commit to doing what you need to do when you don't feel motivated. Because when the motivation goes, you need to be able to keep going. And yes, it's nice. You'll find that you'll get, if you give yourself, there's ways you can offset it. You can give yourself little mini goals, and they can boost you up, and you can feel better, and that will kind of help you take you to the next step, and then get you over the next hurdle and stuff like that. But sometimes the boosts are a distance apart, especially if you've got a chronic illness. Your yays might be slightly longer apart, but that doesn't mean that I should have a less commitment to the activity at hand. If I physically cannot do something, that's different. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about I just feel run down, tired. I don't feel motivated. I don't have the drive. You don't need a drive. You don't need to feel motivated. Get up and do it. Of course, it helps if you are those things. Of course, but you shouldn't let the lack of that feeling be a determining factor as to whether or not you actually go out and do stuff. So yes, when we come home from work, we have the same, we just maybe lack of motivation, or in the course of this video, so it's been like X minutes, I've been trying to rack my brains for it for the last 2 minutes. I can't remember that word that the Rock used in that quote. Anyway, so that word, if it was motivation, cool, but I don't think it is. It's going to bug me. I'm not going to check unedited videos. Yay! We can all go back and find out at the start. So that's a normal thing that everyone has, and then if you've got a chronic illness, it's just going to be on top of it. So you don't want to get stuck in the feel of it. Once again, you're not going to get stuck in the feel of it. You want to be able to commit to the course of action that will take you to your goal. So if your goal is cooking dinner, you need to stand up and cook dinner. If you need to do washing, you need to stand up and do washing. Obviously, there are allowances. Some days cooking dinner is not viable because you cannot cook dinner. Then you might have a freezer meal you've prepared before, or you might go out or eat in, or something like that. Or you might have a cheat meal that you've got planned, which is like microwave it for 5 minutes and I've got a nutritious meal, something like that. So there are times when yes, you cannot do something, but you want to those times, you want to only have those times as the times when you really cannot do it. You don't want to train yourself that, I feel not good today, I'm not going to do it. Because otherwise your brain will go I don't want to do this activity, I don't feel good. Oh, well, you don't feel good, bro? Okay, then I'm not going to do it. So you cycle it in. When you don't do a thing, it's got to be for a really good reason. And because I don't feel like it, for the most part, is not a good enough reason for things we must do. Obviously, if things are harmful, we're just talking easy baseline things here. Okay, but if you I'm so tired and I get home, how much of that is just the lack of drive, and how much of that is chronic fatigue syndrome? And that's what you got to ask yourself. So instead of winding yourself down, don't I've finished work, I'm gonna go and instead of winding yourself down, stay wound up, do what you need to do, and then then go lie down, something like that. Like, learn to manage yourself so that life doesn't become a secondary thing that passes you by. Okay, so for example, today I finished first block of work in the morning, and I came home and I was like, I need a switch off. I need some sort of rest. I was like, what kind of signals though is it? So I got stuck into my next lot of work, and I did some, and then I realized kind of, because my body will go like, by the way, James, the signals that you have been ignoring actually meant you need to be lying down now, or you're actually asleep while you're awake. Like, it's a weird feeling. Well, like, we're powering down now, so it's your choice whether or not you get horizontal, but any moment now. So do you want the chance to go lie down, or should we just like shut you off right here? So I experienced that and was like, oh, I'm actually in that state. Went and lay down, and then I had to, when I got back up, finish this next block of work. So don't get stuck in the feels for like the lack of motivation, or lack of drive, lack of passion. Sometimes we really just have to do what needs to be done. It's just life. But of course, you know, still try and do things that you enjoy, still try and find the passion in life, still try and find that motivation and the drive, still do all those things, but sometimes to get things done, you don't have to feel it. So thank you very much for letting me share with you day 61. If you have any questions or would like to introduce yourself, comment below or make contact. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And I hope you guys have an awesome, today is Tuesday evening.